Okay, I'll call to order the Tuesday, June 14th, 2022 regular board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission statement is Learning for Life. Vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. Takes us to the approval of the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Sage. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an approved agenda. First item is presentations. Number one, which is the Davidson Middle School Record Breakers.
Yes, it is my tremendous honor this evening to recognize some extraordinary athletes at Davidson Middle School. Specifically, we have some middle school record breakers in track, and I am introducing now our athletic director for Davidson Middle School, Mrs. Hinsman, who's going to make this presentation.
Hi, I'm Beth Hinsman. I'm the athletic director and assistant principal at Davidson, and I brought along two very important people with me. I have Mackenzie Cabaney. She is our head girls coach, and I have Charles Hilsenbeck. He is our head boys coach at Davidson Middle School. Mackenzie is also a
Great Starts Readiness Program.
GSRP teacher in our district. So they were wonderful this year. They had over 70 kids on the team, and we had a fantastic year this year in track. But we had 4 records broken, school records broken this year. So we wanted to acknowledge those student athletes that we have with our presentation of our plaque. So if we could have those 8 kids come up here, and we are going to present them with the plaque and recognize them for their achievement. So yeah, if you guys could come up here, we have a plaque for you, and I'll introduce your names, and then we'll get some pictures. We had 2 relay teams, and they each broke 2 records. So I need my glasses for this. Okay, so our girls relay team was Renesia Hughes, Mary Lou Berner, Ella Hess, and Riley Sturdall. And they set the 4x100 meter relay record for school at 55.3 seconds. And our boys sprint relay group is Habibullah Majedi, Isaiah Davidson, Adonis Galladay, and Henry Johnson III. And they set the 4x100 meter relay record at 49.11 seconds, and the 4x200 meter relay at 1 minute 45.02 seconds. So we're really proud of their accomplishments. So could you guys hold up your plaques, and then we'll get a picture of them. And then I'm going to ask Habib and Ella and Isaiah to stay up here for the next part too. And you guys can sit down. Thank you. So the next agenda item we have is our Southgate Titan Award. And at the last meeting, we had our 8th grader, a lot of our 8th graders were missing in Washington, D.C. So I have these 3 students plus some other of my 8th graders in the audience today that we wanted to recognize for their Titan Award. So in addition to these 3, can I have Sam Cowan come up here? And Abigail Juco, TJ Picorni, Cooper Randall, and Reese Randall. So the Southgate Titan Award is something that we are giving out at Davidson and Anderson this year. And it's a new tradition that we're starting, and everyone has a role on a team. And winning is about more than just raw stats. When you have leaders, it hones the direction of the team and helps everyone get better. Southgate Athletics recognizes an athlete from each program using the selection criteria. This selection criteria. A Southgate Titan Award winner represents selflessness, willing to put the needs of the team before their own, sportsmanship with respect for coaches, officials, opponents, and their teammates, commitment toward practice, games, and continued improvement, honesty, playing by the rules, having good character, positive attitudes and enthusiasm for their sport, both on and off the field or court, toughness, both mental and physical, a good work ethic, teamwork, focus and discipline, perseverance, and exemplary behavior in school. So we wanted to recognize these students. TJ Picorni got his Titan Award for basketball this year. Cooper Randall got a Titan Award in baseball and in basketball. He was a 2-time Titan Award winner. Sam Cowan got his Titan Award for wrestling. Habib Majetti got his Titan Award for track. And Isaiah Davidson got his Titan Award for track. Ella Hess got her Titan Award for track. Abigail Juco got her Titan Award for basketball. And Reese Randall got her Titan Award for softball. So we wanted to congratulate these 8th graders that couldn't be here because they were enjoying Washington, D.C. And if you want to look at Mr. Lindsay, he'll take your picture.
Great job.
Good evening. I'm here to represent Anderson High School and the spring Titan Award winners for this year. Just like Ms. Hinsman said, this is an award that we have added. It is a prestigious award that doesn't necessarily go to the best person on the team. It's someone who definitely puts themselves, the team before themselves, and each of these candidates who won and recipients that won this award truly represent that. So for varsity baseball, we have Jake Peer. Then for JV baseball, we have Leland Lafayette. Come on up. And for freshman baseball, we have Connor Torrance. For varsity softball, we have Alexandria Allure. Then for varsity golf, we had Marcus King. JV golf, we had Jordan Connors. Then for varsity track, we had Maggie Stanley for the girls. And we had Alex Jewell, and they were recognized at the last meeting too, but we're recognizing them again. Then for varsity tennis, we have Mia Luangos, which I do not see. For the JV tennis, it was Araya Delgado. I know for rowing, she's here, Rachel Spear. And for JV softball, we have Kate Grabowski. And I'm just double checking to make sure. I think that's everybody I have there. That's all here. So these winners right here, as well as the names that I read off, definitely, again, this was something that we're excited about, and it's a continued tradition that we're going to have every single year, and each and every one of these players deserved this award that was really handed down by the coaches and the other assistant coaches in the program. So congratulations. And usually all their awards are handed out at the banquet that they do get. It's a certificate, and each of them should have received it, and if not, they can make sure to stop by and see me tomorrow before you guys head out for summer break. So thank you.
Great job.
Thank you very much for that. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We got to set up for the budget presentation, so unless anybody wants to stay for that, which they're welcome to do, no hard feelings. So we'll take a 5-minute break, okay?
I won't be upset.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah. Nothing does it like that.
Right, right.
Is there another light?
But then
over
it's
the
minimizes
back?
the whole tight spirit, not the best
Lisa,
athlete.
is there another light?
And it can.
To make that darker, lighter? That's better.
Seen
Go
this
ahead.
before.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, Barb.
Don't you have to
Fire
do
away.
banging and
Oh, no,
official?
fire away.
We're not doing that anymore?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't need to.
Okay.
We already did that once. We only get 2 a meeting.
Okay, you want me to proceed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Tonight, I will be presenting our 2022-2023 proposed original budgets.
Excuse me. Mr. Lindsay, would you mind shutting the doors for us? Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So, the budget that you're about to see, this document reflects the revenues and expenditures associated with the continued operations of the outstanding programs of the Southgate Community School District. And the 2022-2023 general operating budget is based on the following assumptions. Our 2022 millage rate requests, our local tax revenue is still based on 18 mil levy authorized by law on the taxable non-principal residence property, except commercial personal property, which is levied at 6 mils. Local tax revenue accounts for 94% of our total local revenue. Our operating millage remains the same at 18 mils with no Headley rollback. And a mill is equal to $1 of tax for every $1,000 of taxable value. This would generate approximately an increase of $156,013 in local tax revenue based on increased property tax of $9,110,645. Non-PRE at the 18 mills and a decrease in the commercial property tax value of $1,329,800 at 6 mills. The recommended debt millage of 5.85 mils is no change over 2021 as analyzed by our financial advisors, PFM Financial Advisors. Other revenue assumptions. The state aid foundation allowance is projected to increase from $8,700 per pupil to $9,100 per pupil. This is an increase of $400 per pupil. Fall 2022 enrollment is projected to increase by 50 pupils. ESSER II funds are completely expended by June 30 of 2022. And enhancement revenue is budgeted at 25% less due to PSA inclusion in the distribution from the county, which equates to a decrease of $340,750. Our expenditure assumptions are that the hard cap, which is Public Act 152, cost increase is 1.3%. Projected severance is budgeted at $300,000 based on an estimated 10 teachers and 5 staff retirements. Retirement costs have been budgeted at the average of 28.23%, which is the net of 44.88% over the UAL offset of 16.65%. So therefore, there is no net increase to our retirement costs for 2021, 2022. Central office restructure is included. $90,000 was added for a facilities director, $50,000 was added for swimming pool maintenance, $850,000 was added to the transportation budget, of which $350,000 is district, $500,000 is ESSER III funding. Enhancement dollars are allocated at $386,650, which includes $250,000 for athletics, $100,000 for maintenance, $6,000 for K-8 robotics, $25,000 for band, and $5,650 for transportation for Quiz Bowl, robotics, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and band. The projected general fund balance as a percentage of prior year's expenditures is 10.08%, and Board Policy 5002 requires that we would endeavor to maintain a year-end general fund balance of 10% of the preceding year's expenditures. Our unknowns at this time are that the foundation allowance per pupil has not yet been determined. Our state is required to complete their budget by July 1. The fall 2022 pupil count is not known at this time. The ESSER 3 allocation of $5.4 million has not been fully released or distributed across budget expenditures. Additional bargaining unit contracts will all be negotiated for 2022-2023. And the impact of fewer free and reduced count based on reduced reporting requirements is not known at this time. Excuse me. General fund summary. So our estimated ending fund balance at June 30th, 2022 per our March 22nd, 2022 amended budget was $5,338,546. And estimated ending balance at 6/30 of 23 per today's proposed original budget is $5,007,333. This represents a net decrease in fund balance projected at June 30th of 23 to be $331,213. Our total revenues are $47,715,314. Total expenditures are $48,046,527. And again, our projected general fund balance percentage of prior year's expenditures is 10.08%. This chart shows changes in the general fund revenue, and as you can see, the bottom line there, total revenue is actually decreasing slightly from last year at 49 million, or meaning 21-22 at $49,248,391, and the 22-23 proposed budget shows $47,966,609. So the net decrease is $1,281,782. These revenue to local sources are mainly because the operating level for the non-principal PRE property millage continues to be 18 mills based on new property tax values. It generates $5,025,242. And the operating levy for the commercial personal property millage continues to be 6 mills based on new property tax values. This generates $158,057. Total combined tax revenue is $5,183,299. And also within local sources, we have a decrease in the North Point building rental revenue due to revised contract with the Guidance Center. For state sources, we have assumed the $400 per pupil in state aid foundation. And the FY 2022-2023 foundation is assumed $9,100. And in 21-22, it is $8,700. This increase to general fund is $882,935. And in addition, the additional 50 pupils generates in total $455,000 based on the assumed foundation of $9,100. And in addition, the deferred Section 107 adult education revenue was removed. At this point, we have not gotten word that we will get that, and that's $152,066. Continuing with the federal sources, our ESSER 2 funding completely was expended in 21-22. And our ESSER 3 funding remains, but it is budgeted at approximately $3.5 million out of the $5.5 million award. The assumed initial reductions to Title IDEA and adult education grants over our 2021-2022 awards. Other sources, as mentioned, the enhancement revenue is budgeted at 25% less due to the PSA inclusion in the distribution from the county. We do not plan or expect to get the one-time Act 18 special education reimbursement, which we did receive this year at $417,010. And in 21-22, we had 2 years of Medicaid because we didn't get the award in 2021. So in 22-23, I'm back to budgeting for 1 year of $200,000. And that's just a little pie chart breaking out the percentage of revenue by function. 69% comes from our state, 14% is federal, other is 5%, and local is 12%. Changes in general fund expenditures. Again, most of these, I'm going to just give you the total for 21-22. Our total expenditures were $49,910,596, and I'm budgeting $48,297,822. And you will see the instructional staff service level is actually a big decrease, and largely that's due to moving positions. We have 2 positions in curriculum that will not be there next year, and 2 positions moving into the central office function code. And we also have the new IB principal, which is moved out of that function. So that largely accounts for why there's such a drop there. Then you'll also see other and outgoing transfers, a big drop of $3,196,186, and that is largely due to the transfers to capital projects in 21-22. So highlighting the overall changes in the general fund expenditures, all negotiated contracts for 22-23 have been included. There's $300,000 budgeted in severance costs for 10 teachers and 5 staff retirements. The hard cap increase of 1.3% equates to $146,212. The increased transportation costs over 21-22 of $850,000 due to return of district-wide transportation, and of that, $500,000 is coming from ESSER 3. We have a central office restructure, including assistant superintendent and administrative assistant. Facilities director has been added. $50,000 was added to the budget for swimming pool maintenance. An athletic coordinator position was added out of the athletics enhancement funding. And the enhancement dollars are allocated at $386,650, which includes the following items: the $250,000 for athletics, $100,000 for maintenance, $6,000 for K-8 robotics, $25,000 for band, and $56.50 for the transportation of some of our student organizations. And this is another pie chart that basically shows you where the money is going. Starting with the blue is basic instruction, pupil services is the 10%, instructional support is 4%, general administration 2%, school administration 5%, business services 2%, operations and maintenance 9%, pupil transportation 4%, central services 2%, athletics 2%, community services are 0, and they're not really 0, they're less than 1%, and facility improvements 1%, and debt service is 0, which is again less than 1%. And moving into the special education fund, their revenue has increase, those brackets there off to the side are increases in revenue, and they have picked up additional funding from the state based on the new calculation with our new number of students for special education, and at the assumed new $400 per pupil. The County Millage Act 18 is an increase based on the budget that was presented to Wayne Risa and was approved back in February of 2022. And so we have a total increase of $580,272. We are at $7,236,212. But I do want to point out the amended budget of $6,655,940 was actually a drop from the original budget, and it was largely due to staffing problems, like being unable to hire staff. So when we did the amendments, I reduced how much money we were allocating. So it appears to be a little bit larger than it might have been. But in general, we go into the year with around $7 million or so. And so overall, this, again, budget is based on what was submitted to Wayne Risa in February of 2022 and approved. The federal sources, we have a minimal change. And we were advised to plan for about $350,000 in CPI funding from IDEA. And our state sources include an additional 3% special ed funding from the state to offset special education costs, and they've consistently been giving us money for the last several years. They increased that to 3% this year. I have not heard yet if we're going to get 4 next year, but they started off with 2, and in general we got 2. And the county millage, Act 18, there is no change until the first revision will be due in November. This chart summarizes everything by function code again. Over 2021-22, our expenditures were $6,655,940, and again, that was based on the reduction to the second amended budget for special ed match. So changes in the special education fund expenditures, again, I'm saying overall, based on the budget submitted to RISA in February of 2022, and it was approved. The changes in instruction costs were due to the wage and benefit increase costs. Budget for subs were increased by $50,000, and a reduction in 21-22 instruction costs due to the staffing difficulties account for the excess funding that's budgeted, and that has been, the budgeted staff has been fully restored, assuming we can get all of those positions. Rent remains unchanged at $102,000. Indirect costs, we can claim a maximum of 12% of total allowable direct costs. And again, I anticipate changes after the first revision, which is due in November. Food service. In 21-22, our net revenue for food service was $1,647,457. And in 22-23, that balance is projected to be $1,673,050, which is actually just an increase of $25,593. And for expenditures, their total in 21-22 was $1,439,872. And I'm projecting $1,611,584 in food service expenditures, which allows for an increase in expenditures of $171,712. And a summary of that is their projected fund balance at June 30th of 22 is $528,959, and that would leave a projected fund balance at June 30th of 23 to be $590,400. $425. So $51,719 will be transferred to the general fund for indirect costs, calculated at the preliminary rate of 22-23 of 7.38%. We don't have our final 22-23 rate at this point, and an indirect cost adjustment request was filed. We have not heard yet what the new rate will be. Food costs have increased due to national inflation. We are going to continue with the Creative Montessori agreement. The state of Michigan required a spend down plan because you're only allowed to have a certain amount of 3 months worth of expenditures, and we exceeded that. So we were notified that we had to come down with a spend down plan, and we did that for 21-22 and 22-23. So some of the items that are included in these expenses are in order to accommodate that spend down plan. And at this time, the 21-22 waiver is going to expire, and therefore Anderson High School will no longer be free meals building-wide. So that's the first time in 3 years. So, Community Services Fund revenue. This account in 21-22 was $610,687 in revenue, and for 22-23 we're projecting $339,500. And the total decrease in revenue is mainly because of a federal grant that we got, it's the Child Care Stabilization Grant, which she had gotten like $364,000 there under federal sources, and she still has $100,000 left going into 22-23 that we can spend some of that. But she's not able to apply until all that funding is gone. She can't reapply for another year. So at this point in time, I'm making that assumption, and going on to the expenditures broken down by latchkey, preschool, adult enrichment. The transfer is the indirect costs that the district gets based on their total expenditures. So at 21-22's amended budget, I was looking at total expenditures of $268,580. And for 22-23, I'm projecting $357,589, which is an increase in expenditures of $89,009. And again, primarily that's due to the grant funding. So the summary of the changes in the Community Services Fund is the latchkey revenue, which I mentioned decreasing in federal revenue for 22-23 due to the grant reduction of the Child Care Stabilization Grant. Preschool revenue for Southgate is going to operate 2 rooms, a 3-year-old room and a 4-year-old room for those who do not qualify for the GSRP. And there are no anticipated transfers from the general fund to the Community Services Fund for 22-23. But we do anticipate transfer from Community Services to general fund at the preliminary indirect cost rate for 22-23 of 7.38%. And the last one is the new Student School Activity Fund. And our total available to appropriate in as far as the March 22nd of 22 budget was $281,715. And at 22-23, I'm estimating it will be $293,525. And if you recall, this is due to the GASB 84 that went into effect last year. And these were, let me get to my next slide. These were the former student activity funds, are what we were calling the custodial funds, and they have to be moved to the special revenue fund / general fund or governmental funds. Guidance indicates that we only have to show a total revenue and a total expenses, 2 lines. And there are no food, flowers, donations, gifts, scholarships, or other unlawful expenditures by a governmental unit that are allowable to be charged to this fund. questions or comments?
Dr. Pomponio.
I have a couple. So we added a facilities director. Are we still keeping the maintenance director? And is it two different positions, or would one take over the other?
We have not filled that position yet. We were just budgeting for it in the case that we use it.
Okay.
What's budgeted there is a facilities director as well as a maintenance supervisor.
Okay, so that would eliminate the maintenance director position?
No, the facilities and maintenance director would be still combined.
Okay. And then also, did we hit 11% for the general fund goal for general fund budget?
Yes, we followed board policy and we're at 10.08%.
Okay. And then the other thing is the general fund revenue, does that reflect the changes with the new rules for the millage, for the tax levies, for the charter schools?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why there's a 25% reduction, which we got that information from Wayne Risa, that they anticipate everybody's revenue will go down 25%.
Okay, and then one other question. So are we still doing a quarterly review of the food service budget?
No, I would say
Didn't
not.
we request was it a quarterly, or, I don't remember what?
When it was upside down, we were doing that. I believe the finance committee has maybe not requested that since it's not upside down
Okay.
anymore. We were subsidizing, and when we were subsidizing, there was that request of what's happening, why are we subsidizing, where's everything going, and I know that hasn't been the case, so I think finance committee has lifted that to say.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I just got one.
Sage.
About the grant, the 364 that we got for the grant for the child care services.
From the fall application, you cannot apply for the spring application. In the fall application, we can spend, I was told, through November of '23.
Okay.
So I don't know if that means next year they'll come out with another funding source that we can use for childcare.
My concern is that if we don't spend on that money, that's free money that we could be getting. And you can utilize that money to pay for past expenses too. So we might want to look at the addition to the $100,000 that we have. That could be used going back to 2020 from what I'm aware of.
Okay, and we did have childcare grants last year also.
Right.
So we were actually struggling, trying to figure out how we're gonna,
How are you gonna
how are we
spend
gonna
it?
charge these? But we'll take another look at it and make sure that we can.
Just want to make sure we don't miss it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I have one question here about back to the changes in community services fund expenditures. The expenditures for latchkey is going up about 82,000. What was, maybe I missed it when you explained, why was that going up 82,000 on the expenditures?
Initially, we were in 21, 22. Let's see, I wrote that down. So when we did this last budget, my understanding was we were only gonna maintain 2 latchkey programs. And I spoke to the director, and she said they picked up half of another classroom, and that next year they were gonna have 3 classrooms that we were running. So there's additional expenditures in there to, support a 3rd classroom.
So the anticipation is latchkey we're gonna anticipate that latchkey participation is gonna go up when we provide transportation.
No.
That seems counterintuitive to me, but I'm not a latchkey expert. It just seems that when we put the kid on a bus and send them home, we're gonna have less. And then when we pick the kid up, we're gonna have less. I don't know. That
Well, this
doesn't-
will be worst-case scenario, so it'll
a
be
third?
much, I'm guessing it's gonna be much better than that when it
Okay,
actually happens and the amendment comes.
all right. My concern is always when we fund something is that we fund it based on a 3rd classroom, and then the 3rd classroom isn't needed, and people go, oh, but I've got an extra $82,000 I can spend on something, I'll spend it over here, which is what happens when we fund things like that. So I want to keep a close eye on that and make sure that that's not, if that's not the case, if it's not a third classroom, that it gets returned back and doesn't get,
What we would likely do is make sure that we can offset some of the expenditures on staffing that's shared with GSRP, so that we're preserving the GSRP budget.
right,
We would not add any additional expenditures.
okay. And then that kind of leads into the next one I had, which was preschool revenue. Southgate will operate 2 classrooms, 3 and 4, that don't qualify for GSRP. So that preschool is going to be,
We would
is that
locate
at
it
every
at,
building, or is that?
no, that's just in one building. It's at Asher.
Okay,
And when North Point fully opens, it will be located at North Point.
okay,
Because we're limited in space for North Point for the next year, it'll stay at Asher likely for the next year.
okay. And there's a charge for that, I assume?
There
to
is, it's a
the-
tuition-based program.
Tuition-based.
Not all interested families qualify for GSRP, and this is an option.
so they
And we
the
did have
option
enough,
of it.
yes,
Okay.
this is something that we had enough money to, or at least enough students and enrollment to keep open.
Okay. Is that a everyday program, or is that a 2-day, 3-day, afternoon, morning?
It's on, right now, it's happening in the mornings. It'll be based on enrollment for next year. So that enrollment hasn't yet opened.
So we take the enrollment for GSRP, whoever doesn't qualify, we
Right.
offer this, and then,
Right. So we'll know closer to the school year starting what might be the need and demand for that, and we'll adjust staffing accordingly.
okay. All right.
Sorry, I have a question about the changes in the general fund revenue. When we look at other sources, I saw the explanation. I just wondered what the 25%, what dollar amount that represents, and what exactly is the PSA inclusion?
You're speaking of the revenue?
Yeah.
Talk about
schools.
enhancement.
Okay, yeah.
Pardon me?
Enhancement funds, so this year, starting in November, the enhancement funds that we receive from Wayne Risa will have to be shared with charter schools for the first time. So there's
Oh,
a
okay.
pool of money that up until this point was exclusively available to public schools or non-charter schools, local school agencies. Now it'll involve charters as well, and so that money is spread across the county, including more participants. That dilutes the amount we get for our district.
Do we know what dollar amount that represents, though, that 25%, or is that about?
That's the 300,000,
I was gonna say
correct?
200,000-300,000? Okay, thank you.
And if I could just add for those listening, PSA stands for Public School Academy.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Presentation number 4, policy package, first reading.
Yes, we'll start with the
Thanks,
wellness
Bart.
policy. I'm going to ask our interim curriculum director, Mr. Andrew Lindsay, to talk a little bit about the wellness policy, just the highlights there. There is a committee that gathers in the topic of wellness as required by law, and these are the highlights of this policy without having to go through all 25 pages.
All right, so this breaks down into 2 basic sections, nutrition and physical education. Our pre-K through 12th grade students receive nutrition education that's aligned with the Michigan Health Education content standards and benchmarks, and we integrate those through science class, health class, and physical education courses. In addition, the school meals meet program requirements and nutrition standards that are found in federal regulations. And I didn't know this, but school meals provide 50% of the recommended daily allowances for key nutrients. When it comes to some of the other options, a la carte and vending options are also aligned to dietary standards using baked and low-fat options in those old days of using Hostess a la cartes are in the past. On the physical education side, the program equips students with knowledge, skills, and values that are necessary for lifelong physical activity. Supervised physical education opportunities are provided to all pre-K through 12th grade students through phys ed courses, recess at the elementary level. And the district also encourages programs that promote physical activity, field days, walking, running clubs, to complement the physical education program. The policy, all the policy really falls under those bullet points. The policy flushes it out into, the specific dietary standards for nutrition, the specific ways that the physical education department or the physical education curriculum achieves these bullet point goals. As Superintendent Irvine said, the district does utilize input from the Wellness Committee to monitor and evaluate compliance with this wellness policy.
Thank you.
All right.
The second policy has to do with fines and fees assessed to the damage of district technology. So we did work to coordinate the language from our AUPs, our annual use provisions, our Chromebook handbook, and our student code of conduct, so that students that are misusing their equipment or damaging the equipment of others may be penalized with a fine to repair the equipment. This is something that was missing in our student code of conduct, to give notice to our community that may be a measure of discipline for those that are damaging the technology of other students. So these are the three places where it's applicable, and these are where this language has been added. The final policy has to do with staffing, layoff, and recall of teachers. And it operates to separate the IB program and the rest of the district when it comes to the operation of policies related to layoff and recall. On any kind of cycle, we would not receive authorization at the end. So that is an adjustment to our policy language that will support that. And that's the end of the policy read.
Any questions about the policies presented?
I have a question. If there's any edits to this one, would it be at the action?
Right. If between now and the next time that it's read, the second read, if there are any revisions, it would be the version that would be finally approved.
Okay, thank you.
Presentation number 5, which is the introduction of.
Yes, I would like to introduce Rob Courtier, who's going to come up and just very briefly address the board related to our earlier presentation today.
First of all, thank you very much, Superintendent Irvine, reaching out to my company and asking me to come. Your staff is wonderful to work with. I've had the opportunity to walk through all your buildings, and I'd like to, at this time, thank you, the board, for giving me the opportunity to share with you a passion of mine and my family's and our mission for the state of Michigan and other states. Depending upon what your decision is, we're here to help you no matter what. But do keep in mind, if you do table or make decisions, the quote is only good for 30 days, because you know how inflation is moving quite rapidly. Everything's moving. So the quote is good for 30 days, and then if that has to be re-quoted again, we have to look at all of those same implementations that we're doing at that point.
For sure.
Was there any additional questions that the board or superintendent had for me at this point?
Do we get the quote now or later? Do we get to see that?
I'm sorry?
Thank you. We appreciate you coming out, and we'll make sure that all the information needed for the board will be provided to them.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, that moves us to F, citizens' comments. Mr. Pulaski.
Good evening. My name is Robert Pulowski, and I live at 12757 Chestnut Street in Southgate. Two things I'd like to start off with tonight are Titan Awards. Congratulations to all of our Davidson and Anderson students that have received awards this evening. Hard work pays off. I keep on saying the same thing over and over, but it is true. Hard work pays off. Every time in this district, we see thriving athletes go on to receive scholarships because of the hard work they put into this district. Especially, and I'm going to jump into our seniors. Congratulations to all our seniors. 2022, I wish you the best of luck in your futures to come. Especially, I'm going to give a few names. Jake Peer, going to Henry Ford College for his baseball scholarship. Congratulations to him, because he's been a leading athlete in our district, and he has a bright future ahead of him. This is what Southgate trains. Students that want to achieve their goals. And that's what Southgate has lived up to. So congratulations to all of our awards tonight and also our seniors. I wish you the best of luck, and I appreciate everyone, and I wish everybody have a great summer. The last thing I want to get into is our budget. I know this will be voted on tonight. When it comes to the general budget being decreased at $1 million, I think we could have did better than that, but with the inflation, I could understand. Regards to the food service being increased, students' activities being increased, that's pretty good. And with the meals at Anderson being discontinued, there's not much we can do with the inflation, but I think there could have been something done, especially with kids in need that do need that free meals, especially during the summer. But with our average budget being with our federal and state, I would say it's just average, the money that we're getting at 14% and 59% at the state and 14% at the federal level. I think that's pretty much average that what we've seen in previous years compared to 2020, and also our swimming pool that we've invested in. So, but those are my comments on the budget. I was hoping to hear a public hearing, but unfortunately there was not, so I'm trying to smash everything together. And the last thing I want to touch on briefly is Teresa. I heard that you're retiring very soon, and I just want to say thank you for what you've done. You've definitely changed this board and just how you've interacted with people in the office. I remember that first time you took my public comment form, you were like, oh, you're the guy on that virtual call that always sends in those emails to the board. But as always, you know, you've done a great job, and I appreciate everything you've done, and I appreciate you just, you know, taking my comments in and just listening, having this board listen to what I have to say, because, you know, I fight for the people, I fight for our residents, I fight for our staff. I do the same thing for our teachers and students, and I also fight for the city. That's what I'll be pledging when I run for school board, and I look forward to keep on continuing this great work in this district. But as always, I know this is the last day for our students. Have a great summer, and I will see you guys in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, superintendent's update?
Yes, I do want to make a couple clarifications. There will be food service available to high school students, and it will be free of charge for those who qualify. It is our comprehensive meals program that may not be available next year for high school. However, they are petitioning and trying to extend it another year. So hopefully that will be something that materializes. But in the meantime, we will have food for our students. So I just want to make sure that that's really clear. Tomorrow is the last day of school, and I just want to say have a wonderful summer to all of our staff and to our students. It has been a phenomenal year, and we're so excited that we get a chance to spend so much needed rest and restart in September. So I wish all well. That's all for me today.
Thank you. Okay, it takes us to item number H, or letter H, sorry, and the consent agenda, which consists of minutes from the May 24th, 2022 meeting, HR update, disbursements for May 2022, and expulsion of student 0397. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Estheimer. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Action item number 1, approval of the 2022 tax rate request form L-4029.
Yes, annually, the Board of Education must certify the tax rate request, Form L-4029, for the new tax share. I have included in your packets the memo with updated information on the mills, and a copy of the L-4029, and a copy of the PFM document that identifies the percentage for each one of our bonds.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Wilson? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion on action item number 1.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the to certify the tax rate request form L 4029 for the new tax year as presented.
I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Estheimer. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Action item number 2, approval of the fiscal year 23 budget.
Yes, I also have included in your board packets for your review and approval, the proposed original budgets, the general operating fund, the special education fund, the food service fund, and the community services fund, and the student school activity fund for 2022, 2023.
Mr. Estheimer.
I move to approve the FY '23 original budget as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Estheimer. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Sage. Any discussion on the action item? I think it's been discussed thoroughly at the last, 3-4 meetings, so. All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
It's from general fund to capital projects, which was budgeted in our March amended budget. So we just have not actually gotten board approval yet to do that. And so it's based on a one-time financial revenue received over the last couple of years. And as I said, earlier this year, we transferred $1.5 million, and this would be the other $1.5 million for a total of $3 million. And I'm requesting that you approve the transfer from general fund to capital projects.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on action item number 3.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the transfer of $1.5 million from the general fund to capital projects.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Estheimer. Any discussion? Just go ahead and point out this is our effort to fund the ongoing maintenance of all the things that we have put in place. So it's nice to build things, but you have to maintain them, and that's where we're putting some of this money, is to doing that. So with that, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Action item number 4, approval of the SFA to SFA food contract with Creative Montessori.
Yes, this is a renewal of the contract that was negotiated with Creative Montessori last year, in which the school district provides food service for the academy. In this case, a contract has been adjusted to allow for increases in food costs that may intermittently rise throughout the contract year. Those are the terms under which we had to receive pricing from our vendor, so we're passing that along to Creative Montessori. So this is a revised contract reflecting that.
Any questions for staff? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on action item number 4.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the new SFA to SFA agreement with the Creative Montessori Academy for the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support by Mr. Sage. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Okay, item J, which is the discussion, use of the comfort therapy dogs at Southgate Community Schools.
Yes, this discussion is, I'm requesting for the board to think about the terms under which it would be comfortable with comfort dogs or therapy dogs within our school system. We know that there was a proposal for a therapy dog at Beacon that came forward. There was a significant cost associated with it, and we retained ownership. We have the Southgate Police Department, through our school resource officer, requesting for a therapy dog to be included. It would be the property of the Southgate Police Department, owned by them, no costs shifted to the school district. This SRO would have that therapy dog as hers, in her custody and care while she's on our school premises, and she believes that that will help her in her role in supporting the health and wellness of our students in our school system. This is also accompanied by other proposals for volunteer organizations that may come in and bring dogs. They would own those dogs. They would care for those dogs. Those dogs would visit our school sites on a regular scheduled basis. Again, we would not have ownership, and there would be no costs transferred to us in this. So as these proposals have come to me, requesting that kind of presence in our schools, I'm just asking for the board to affirm that they are comfortable with that, and asking for a discussion to at least give some guidance on how we approve those requests.
Dr. Pamponi?
After reading through all the information and knowing that we didn't have ownership of the dogs and they were to take care of it, that was the main thing for me, so I'm absolutely supporting that.
Okay.
Yeah, I too am in support of this for sure.
Agreed. I just want to make sure, from a liability standpoint, in the event of any accident, does that fall?
No,
Okay,
it's held by
full support.
What about children who are allergic to animals? I guess the one, it's a Labradoodle or something like that, like, so they're
Hypoallergenic.
yeah.
It's a good question. And we can ask that question from the Southgate Police Department. How will they respond if we have a student who produces evidence of an allergy that's being affected by this? And I'm sure that that would impact simply how that dog is used in that school environment. I don't know that it would change the police department's position on the ownership or use of it as a guide and support for an SRO, but it may impact where it goes and who kind of gets close to that. It is helpful that we have little carpet at the high school. So for allergens' sake, that does help with the situation, but.
Yeah, my overall concerns originally with the proposals that we had before were it taking up staff time and taking away from staff being able to perform their job functions. And then, of course, the cost of it and the practical, what do you get out of it for that cost and that reduction? So this seems to solve that problem. So I would be in support of this. As far as any kind of approvals from us, are you looking for something formal or?
No. No, because the board would not have to approve it. This is, the ownership is the police department, so there isn't anything for the board to approve. It's just giving me the authority to go ahead and approve the proposals that come in, and that based on the conversation that had happened earlier this year. I just wanted to make sure I understood the terms that the board is comfortable with having dogs in the environment.
I don't have any issues with it.
When you said proposals, do you have like a lot of people coming and wanting to bring animals
Yes, yeah. I mean, as soon as the Beacon proposal came forward, the SRO proposal came in, then social workers, brought their proposals for use of the volunteer agency, Therapy Dogs International, that the Wyandotte schools are using at this time. And so the idea of using dogs in schools is a very exciting one, and a lot of people are very caught up in that moment.
Okay. Anything else from us that you're looking for?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Okay, employee representatives.
Yes, I would like to introduce two new staff members that are here present today that were approved in our Human Resources update today.
Was sitting through the budget hearing a condition of employment?
Have they passed the test?
All right, A+.
Yep, and they're stayers. First we'll start with the new principal for Ford Line Elementary. We have here with us Vanessa Mansour. Vanessa comes to us from Lamphere Schools with extensive background in special education, and we are really excited about her leadership at Ford Line Elementary moving forward. She was a resounding selection by all that were involved in this selection process. So we're excited to have her, and she's here today. Also, we have our fourth grade IB teacher, Lauren Service, who is here today. She's joined us for her approval. We're excited. We're fully staffed at this time, and we're excited to move forward. And their training starts next Tuesday. And they have 6 days of training ahead of them, and then another fairly significant training period in August. So we're excited to have you as part of our new program, and thank you for coming this evening.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Information from the board. Dr. Pomponio.
First, I want to say have a great summer to staff and students. See her. She's happy, helpful, and always a great representation of what we want to see in our district. Thank you for your service, Mary, and I wish you all the best. It's well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Estheimer.
I wanted to say congratulations to all our graduating seniors. It was my pleasure to have attended the graduation and on our beautiful turf field, which is going to be even more pretty here in hopefully a couple more weeks. So congratulations to you, and also to our graduating class at Asher. That was a beautiful ceremony, and I was happy to attend. I also have some notes from Mr. Green. He would like to as well congratulate all the seniors as they move forward in their lives, whether it's in their workforce, vocational college. He wants to wish everybody a happy and safe summer. He'd also like to congratulate all the students that were recognized tonight, since he wasn't able to be here. And he, for the record, is in support of the therapy dog as well. So there you have it.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Estheimer. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Sage. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.